Today was a tough day. I'll be so honest. Today was a tough day. Tough day to read and a hard day to get a good entry on because 10 a.m. this right here was our only long entry that was high time frame correlated. So that was the long entry. Continuations look nasty right here. And our 30-minute PO3 didn't create an OTE to move off of. We just turtle souped it come open. So let's start with the daily cycles and we will get into the lower time frames in a minute. So looking at these cycles, I assumed it was going to be in AMDX day, but that was unsure because it was a devil's mark. That means that True Day Open had no mitigation. We did not move here at all until the YM swept it at 9:30 open, basically like 9:35. From that, I knew the direction was bullish. I ended up taking a bullish trade, but what really was confusing and what can happen a lot is when you do have a devil's mark, this can mean that prices, and sometimes it does and sometimes it does depending on the gap structure and the higher time frame correlated gaps you have above and below. But if this is AMDX, then distribution would move all the way to Asia, no doubt. Accumulation, manipulate this high if it was like a significant high, previous day high right here. Usually, if we're not continuing trending higher, then this distribution would be where you'd want to be in. That would be kind of an early 9:30 to 9:45 distribution. So that's what my mind was telling me. We have distribution, but we are moving up. And technically, the trade that I took would have been better for a short entry because I was looking at this as a bearish daily cycle when I should have been looking at it as a XAMD cycle because manipulation would be in manipulation to move us higher. And I actually didn't see that here because this was manipulation. And then we re-swept that in distribution because these 90 minutes are solid. This 90-minute cycle is obviously in AMDX. We have accumulation, manipulate, distribute down, manipulate this again, and then I was looking for an expansion up there. I mean, that's the logic. I actually saw this as a microcycle, but that is not true because microcycles have to be with the low of something. That is when you have a protected stop, when the microcycle is with the low. And so this right here I saw as a microcycle because we have it on ES, right? We tapped into it right here. This was a double sweep, basically, that didn't get swept. And I entered long off of this position. Right here, you can see my entry was right about, don't mess that up for me. Right there, I was targeting all the way as high as I could to high of the week because I thought this was high time frame correlated, and my stop was right there at that body low. I ended up getting stopped out for around $400, a little less, like 380, something like that. So this was a break even. I thought this sweep would send us higher. This microcycle, which isn't a microcycle because microcycles are most significant at the low. So this low has to be a microcycle with another low because that is our reversal. Otherwise, we're just playing on an internal SMT that's in too small of a time frame to really do anything because come 10 a.m. we have to manipulate something. And 10 a.m. is going to move much more than 30-minute PO3 is. So not an ideal trade. I did have conflicting bias at this time because after taking that loss, coming into 10 a.m., something needed to get manipulated. I didn't see any manipulation. In fact, the only thing I saw was this 10 a.m. candle right there, this SMT. Off of that, I was looking at the 30-second because I'm just thinking, well, if YM is moving up higher and higher and higher, and ES is just following and Q, then we possibly might move lower. And let's actually pull up the new daily opening gap because my full target was right here, the closure of the new daily opening gap. I thought it was likely, it doesn't have to come to True Day Open. I could sell around, just even around here would be a great target. I had stops break even when we took out our low from AM, and that's where we turtle souped. I just instinctually wanted to break even because I wanted to take the risk off. I was in 4 contracts on this trade off this 30-second for value gap. I entered with my stop at the high of this, with the high of there, and we went break even right about here. Gave me a little bit of profit, so we were down 350 on the day, but still losing day of 1R nonetheless. This 4-hour gap, I'm telling you, I've said it before, look for your small 4-hour gaps because they are going to be so precise for reversal, and once you know it, that's what we had to tap to move up. And then look at the body closure for that 10 a.m. Look at the body on that. If you got in like thinking that that CISD was going to be the body and see it clearly, if you thought that the 4 hour was going to be this body right here off the CISD, off of 10 a.m., you have full confirmation to entry with a very low stop because we are not going to trade back into the wicks. So you could enter like there, you could have this. Honestly, I'd put my stop around here where this low got swept. That would be my personal stop loss because we have that IFEG, BPR coming in here, and then on the 2 minute, we obviously probably have a gap. Yeah, so that right below the 2 minute would be my trade and targeting, however high we're going. I probably would have got stopped out, truthfully, at True Month Open after this came down because I just don't want to be in if it's sweeping that low because it could go much lower. So that would have been my trade if I was in the right direction, taking continuations, that would have been my trade. But this ended up being my failed long position because I was impatient and had a false microcycle. And at this time, we had a bearish 90 minute. We had bullish confluences, but they weren't really significant. We didn't have cycle alignment. We didn't have Kraken correlation alignment today. It was kind of more read price and follow the leader kind of. And that's why I took this short because I thought we were continuing lower to sweep not just this low, but maybe a more significant low too because of that dump that we had on YM. But YM is so deceiving, so deceiving. So I'm really just want to pay attention to ES and NQ and use YM for the Kraken correlations. I don't care if YM does the opposite of NQ and I'm taking a trade based on that. Like I don't care about YM anymore. Like screw YM. All my homies hate YM, and I just don't want to look at it anymore. So really, the only position that I liked today was this short, and it was all right. It's not usually what I trade for a higher RR because one, our 30 minute, I thought that we were going to be bullish. So coming into here, I would only be confident that we'd trade back into this 2 minute or this little 2 minute gap right here, which was the OTE, and that's what I confirmed my entry off of when this candle, just tapped that and we're moving up higher. So this trade wasn't a fully confirmed, rebalance of price. Sure, I could see it come to OTE and then 10 a.m. What I was thinking was going to just move up and then move off of the OTE retrace of this range. But if you just pay attention to how OTE retraces happen, let's just focus on NQ. We're going to have a retrace no matter what in the 10 a.m. range unless it's, just really, really bullish. So right here is CE of the range. If I entered right there and say we manipulate this high at 10 a.m. and then we come back down, still moving past there and then coming down to OTE, if I had stopped break even or slightly in profit, I would get stopped out. Guaranteed I get stopped out if we came to sweep this low or come back into this 2 minute or another gap. So guaranteed I would have got stopped out if 10 a.m. had to manipulate and needed to manipulate lower than just, a gap that would support structure. But we weren't highly bear. We weren't highly bullish. I mean, our target was high of the week, but that was really the only target. We're not all-time high bullish anymore. So that kind of trading just doesn't apply. We don't have those 5 minute fair value gap continuations that just run off open or run off of 10 a.m. We just don't have that at the moment. So what I did was just get off. I had to get off. Well, at least after the short. After the short, I got break even. I was completely done. But the reason why I like this short is, like I said, we had this SMT. We were rejecting CE. So OTE, CE of this 30-minute range is right here. We didn't take any premium liquidity, but technically we're rejecting really heavily and creating SMT with 10 a.m. That is enough to move us lower, considering we had our 30-second CISD, market structure shift, and the 30-minute IFVG, which I use as the CISD. And then we dropped aggressively to our target. We actually had a 1 minute PSP right here. Our 1 minute PSP at this 4 hour was the A plus long. That was it. That was it today. If you didn't short that previous day high sweep, then this PSP right here was your long. It was also a TPD because you can see this body is different. It is trading next to the candle, while up here you see the body is opposite. This one is trading next to the candle, and then our third candle is the one trading above it, which is a strong pattern for just a rejection block. right? That's what Powell uses. That rejection block is kind of like CE of that would be about where the candle opened. Like you use it all you want. So that I don't really use rejection blocks. I don't care to use them. It's just like a concept of reading price. So once you get better at reading price, that's really when you start to figure out all these confluences. And you don't need to use all of them. You don't. It just messes up with your head. It creates a nasty chart and it's just messy. So this just was not a clean day. New weekly opening gap was also kind of my higher time frame confluence to see if we're going higher off of that. But really, after this singular move, this really, really aggressive move in 3 minutes, mind you, I just was off. I was off. I didn't want to be on the charts. I think it was just waiting for what FOMC to do some crazy stuff to send us lower because, like I said, the daily time frame is moving lower. The daily time frame is moving lower. I actually might have mentioned this in another recording, but this daily time frame is just moving lower to me. Look, we have a daily BPR, daily for value gap getting tapped. We also have an SMT on the daily at the moment. Like, I just think we're moving lower. You can think what you want. I think we're moving lower. Off of the weekly TPD at the moment, I still think we're moving lower. This is a weekly for value gap tap, but the weekly, if to get a weekly to inverse, a lot has to happen. Like a lot has to happen. This weekly inverse and it reverse for two more weeks. Usually when a weekly inverses, it's like another month that we're dropping. So that is what I'm waiting for. And other than that, it was just a simple losing day of $350. Just 350. That's what we lost. 350. And I don't feel that bad about it. Honestly, the hardest part of today was taking that loss in the beginning because it was stupid. It kind of set the tone almost for the rest of my trading session. I tried not to because it was break even. I actually lost $10 on it, so it was break even. But after that, I didn't want it to affect the rest of my trading session, so I took that long. And maybe it was just instinct. Maybe it was premature. Maybe I used that microcycle to, just justify the fact that I was dumb on this trade, and this one looks great just on structure and the time of day, distribution in what I thought was distribution at the time. So I thought it was going to be great. This was a trade I had on 5 cons, and then it got stopped out. So after that, I definitely needed to take a break to just reassess my bias, and that's why I ended up taking the short because I reassessed and I thought, okay, maybe we're moving short. We have a bearish 90-minute. We swept previous day high of the week is like all the way up here. Are we going to move to true day open before we go up there? So that's what I was thinking. It wouldn't have aligned with the cycles, to be honest. Oh, excuse me. It wouldn't have aligned with the cycles. So it was just kind of like a shot in the dark. And I managed it well, ended up getting stop break even. And because I was right about the manipulation portion, I was able to get that break even because this is our 10 a.m. manipulation. Manipulation to this 4 hour, sweep the low of the current day, which is new daily opening gap CE, meaning that it's new daily opening gap is actually showing us how bullish we are by going to 25%, not going to CE. ES going to CE and not going any lower, as you can see right here, coming to CE, and then we reswept that, but it still stayed above the last quadrant. It did not fill the entire new daily opening gap, and after that, it shot up. So that was just clear as day, was going to be very bullish after that first candle printed off of that PSP. And it was just too much of a stop for me. I wasn't going to enter. It was just chasing price, in my opinion, because I didn't have time to analyze it before I got stopped out. And I didn't have this 4 hour marked out. I was ignorant. I just did not mark it out. And it ended up being the bottom tick entry of the day. So very sad to see, but it's all right because we got more trading days. We have 2 more days this week. And after FOMC, I really think we're going to get something decent. So that's it for this video. I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully we get our winning day because I just need one more. One more and I can get a payout and then we can start scaling accounts the right way because I have just messed it up so many times. And a psychology video will come out. A backstory video will come out. I'll tell you all of it. I really just am waiting for the right time because it'll be more impactful when I can really show you, consistency on a long time frame and really where it started. the bottom, like the bottom of the bottom where it started from, losing, going broke every every month basically. So that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.